Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Yuki might be a little huffy. She's kind of huffing over there. One of our neighbors is working on the house. So it's been, I think, about 3 or 4 months they've been working on this house. We're working on our house too. All you see behind me is like drywall and plaster, that's why. But I noticed the other night we had a chat and I had friends asking me questions and we were in a live chat. And something I haven't noticed before is that sun care. Educating yourself on the appropriate sun care. So I'm not gonna tell you what sunscreen or what to buy or what not to buy. I'm just gonna give you the facts. I'm gonna break it down. If I was talking to a client one-on-one, it'd be more of the specifics. This is going to be a general overview, but it is going to give you information, basic information about. Let's just start with, like, most information I got from is from the Skin Cancer Foundation. It's been around for 40 years. And also some other sites like La Roche, Posay, Vichy. A lot of the companies that are into this, researching it and developing healthcare for that or how to treat it. The sun, let's just keep basic. The sun in your skin. And when I was a kid, I lived outside. I mean, I was tan. Now you can't tell. I'm pasty white. But growing up, I out in the sun and I darkened and I never burned. I didn't. High school, I was on. We found out that I had a grand mal seizure, and then I was on medication for it. Well, it affected the pigment, the melanin, the color balance in my skin. So then instead of, I'd go from white to tan, I would go white to burnt. So pasty to burnt, and it's been like that for 20 plus years now. So what we're going to talk about is basically, the sun emits ultraviolet radiation, which is proven to be human carcinogen. It's a cancer-causing agent. About 90% of non-melanoma skin cancers are associated with exposure to the sun's UV radiation. 90% of skin aging is caused by the sun. So tanning beds also count because they are UV ray beds. Even when it's cold or overcast, UV rays can go through the clouds. So it can cause skin aging, it can cause skin cancer passing through the clouds because it can penetrate in your skin. I do wear sunscreen all year round on my face and my hands. I know that sounds really weird, but those are usually the parts that are exposed for me. The sun's rays also, they're off reflective surfaces. Reflective surfaces can be water, snow, sand. Would you believe it? Because there's those little particles, the sand, and also concrete. So that is an issue. I did take notes on this so I wouldn't forget some of the stuff. So let's talk about UVA and UVB, because both of these are serious, because there are two types. So UVA rays they penetrate deeper into your skin than UVB, but UVB is the main cause for sunburn. UVA presents a intensity all year round during daylight hours. It can penetrate. UVA can penetrate clouds, fog, window glass. Unless you have custom-made windows that are UV resistant, it's not all going to block it out because there's not anything that's 1%. Now UVB is usually the time where, when they tell you don't be out in the sun between 10 and 4, which is the main time to be out. That's UVB rays. They're usually when you're getting those absorbed into your skin. They don't penetrate glass though. UVB does not. Everyone needs sun protection. Doesn't matter your skin tone or so forth. Anybody can get skin cancer. It doesn't matter race, ethnicity, or your skin color. It really doesn't. Unfortunately, sometimes because it's not a concern for if you're darker skin, you don't think about it as much. Sometimes it doesn't get discovered until later, farther along in the transition. If you have lighter skin, you have less melanin, and melanin helps protect you. Melanin is like your hyperpigmentation, your freckles, your age spots. That's a production of melanin. But like I said, if you're darker skinned and stuff, it's a more dangerous stage usually when it's discovered if you have skin cancer. So the basic checklist that everybody probably knows, but let's just say it. Seek the shade, cover up with clothing, use sunscreen, avoid tanning and UV tanning beds, do not burn. There's a thing about burning. If you're seeking the shade, the sun's rays are the strongest between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Some of this stuff is redundant. I know a lot of people know it. Plan outdoors activities early in the morning or late in the afternoon. If you're sensitive to that, walk on the shady side of the street. That's just basic common sense, but you know what? We forget sometimes because we're enjoying the sunshine. Covering up. Clothing is the single most effective form of sun protection. The more skin you cover, the better. That's not fun. Not for everybody. It isn't. Long sleeve shirts cover more of the skin than a t-shirt, a wide brimmed hat, which I like wide brimmed hats. That I don't have a problem with. And UV blocking sunglasses, which most of us are usually. I mean, sunglass wise, I really think most sunglasses now are UV blocking, I would hope, but I'm sure like at the dollar store they may not be. Use sunscreen every day. Make sure, I prefer sunscreen that is broad spectrum, which is UVA, UVB. I think almost pretty much anymore sunscreen is broad spectrum. I haven't seen anything in the last year that only does UVA or UVB. But always look for the bottle to say broad spectrum so that you know that it covers everything. SPF 15 or higher is best recommended. I know there's like SPF 5 out there and stuff like that, and that's for tanning. That's for you to get sun, to get tanning, because if you, like me, if I can get sunburnt in 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes. So if I use an SPF of 5, that's 5 times like 10 minutes. So that's 50 minutes that it's going to protect me from the sun. That's not going to be useful. If you're doing extended outdoor activity, get a higher SPF. Because if you're going to be outside longer, you're not going to remember to go in every 30 minutes or every hour to put more sunscreen on and stuff like that. You should use 1 ounce, which is like 2 tablespoons of sunscreen on your entire body for in theory, every 30 minutes. Before you put it on 30 minutes before going outside. So you let it absorb in your skin, protect your skin. Stuff like that. You should reapply sunscreen every 2 hours if you can. Highly recommended. FDA has now made it that everything is to be called sunscreen. Sunscreen products can never be called a sunblock or suntan lotion. They have taken that extent out. Sunblock is no longer allowed on sunscreen labels because no product can truly block the sun. So it's not going to truly protect you from the sun. Suntan lotion basically implies a measure of a sunscreen's ability to prevent UVB from damaging the skin. If it takes 20 minutes for your unprotected skin to start turning red, use an SPF 15 sunscreen. Theoretically prevents reddening 15 times longer, about 5 hours. Broad spectrum. This is another terminology that we were just using. That is the sunscreen that protects against both UVA and UVB. Water resistant and sweat resistant. That means that the sunscreen remains effective for 40 to 80 minutes while you're swimming or sweating. No sunscreen is waterproof. No sunscreen is sweat-proof. They are just resistant. The FDA prohibits these terms on any sunscreen labels. So if yours says that, chances are your sunscreen is expired. And you think I'm kidding. I do look for certain seals. I do look for the Skin Cancer Foundation seals on my sunscreen because that is important to me. They have 3 They have for your daily use seal, your active seal, and your seal of recommendation. So daily use seal is for sunscreens intended to protect against brief everyday sun exposure, just like you walking to a car or running errands. Active seal is for extended sun exposure, so like playing sports, spending the day at the beach. That's the one you're going to look for, is the one that says active seal. Seal recommendation is a word for sun protecting clothing hats. So that's like certain brands, they pass the test. Window film, all that kind of stuff. You know, the shading things and everything you put on there. So that puts that. The different types of sunscreen. I am a mineral person, which used to be called physical. And I think they decided it was just too confusing about this. So there's two types of sunscreen. There's chemical versus physical, which now physical is more called mineral. Those are the two main types for active sunscreen. So physical is where titanium dioxide and zinc oxide stay on top of your skin and deflect UV rays. That physical or mineral sunscreens may be best for children or people with sensitive skin. Like me, I use mineral sunscreens. My grandson, I prefer to put mineral sunscreens on. He is 4 years old. Chemical is the avobenzone, benzophenone. They absorb the UV. So they actually, in your skin, and it goes into your skin and absorbs, reducing its penetration. They are more cosmetically elegant. People like the chemical ones, especially when you're doing makeup and stuff like that, because it's not a layer. It's going into your skin and it's more cosmetics. So a lot of sunscreens now, actually most sunscreens nowadays are both. They combine mineral and chemical. So when you look into them, do watch that. Mineral ones are, like I said, they're more of the topical. The zinc oxide. If you use zinc oxide, that's a what's called a physical mineral. Physical mineral. Da, da, da. It's your science stuff. So there are certain things about sunscreens that some places are no longer allowing. We'll get to that in a minute. But one of the things like I want to go over is like sunscreen products, especially with oxybenzone, retinol, palmate, are safe and effective when used correctly. The FDA has guidelines that proves that the SPF is what it is and water resistant on sunscreens. How to store sunscreen. This is what gets us all in trouble because you don't think about it. Anything with SPF you should never leave in your car, leave anywhere where it can get overheated or hot. Because if it has SPF in it, then it will break down. It breaks down and it makes it less effective. So if you're using a lip balm that has SPF in it, for the SPF, don't leave it where it can get overly heated. Never store sunscreen in your car. Because the car is parked in a sunny spot, it breaks down the sunscreen, the ingredients to the sunscreen. Does not make it effective. When you're at the beach or you're at the pool, if you can, keep your sunscreen in the shade, inside a bag, inside a tote, with a towel over it, whatever like you can. Because like I said, if it's out in direct sunlight, it will start breaking down the components. Use your sunscreen before the expiration date. Nowadays, pretty much, they're making it, the FDA is making it where they can't use a code on there so you don't know exactly when the expiration date is. They are making them put expiration dates on that suntan lotion, sunblock, sunscreen. Oh my goodness, on your sunscreen lotion. So what it is, and like I said, if it doesn't or you can't find it, when you purchase it, write it on there, permanent marker, and make sure you don't keep it more than, I would say, 2 years. Some people say 3. I do 18 months to 2 years. I don't like to do more than that because you just don't know. The benefits of sunscreen. Let's keep it simple. The benefits of sunscreen. It helps prevent skin cancer. Unprotected exposure to UV radiation over time can lead to skin cancer, premature skin aging, wrinkles, lines, age spots. I don't want any of it. None. I use it daily. People that use, and these are facts that I got from the Skin Cancer Foundation. People who use sunscreen SPF 15 or higher daily show 24% less of skin aging than those who do not use sunscreen. So maybe that's why, because I use sunscreen all the time. I don't look like I'm 50. Regular daily use of SPF 15 reduces the risk of developing squamous cell carcinoma by about 40% and risk developing melanoma by 50%. That's huge to me. And I usually know that, like I said, when I'm talking to clients and stuff, it's usually one-on-one. So this is a general overview of it. It's always best to keep newborns out of the sun rather than use sunscreen. Sunscreens should be used on kids over the age of 6 months. Broad spectrum, water resistant, SPF 30 or higher. And I don't think I've ever seen a children's sunscreen less than 30. I think 30 is the lowest. Usually it's 50. Zinc oxide, titanium oxide, dioxide is preferred with kids. And if you notice, most of the time that's what you find for children. If they have an irritation to it, then try something else. So always kind of test, on a wrist or somewhere for them, make sure they're not, irritated. Because you don't want your, a little kid's sunburn is horrible. Okay, I'm just saying this because the Skin Cancer Foundation recommends this. I used to tan in a tanning bed, don't anymore. Avoid tanning in UV tanning booths. Tans are caused by harmful UV radiation from the sun or tanning lamps. The damage caused by UV radiation can lead to premature skin aging, wrinkles, black skin, brown spots, and more, as well as skin cancer. People who first use a tanning bed before age 35 increase their risk of melanoma by 75%. That's not reassuring to me because I was 17 and 18 using a tanning bed. I haven't really used it much since then, but and then I found out I couldn't tan in bed because of the medication I was on. Try not to get sunburned. And I know some of my friends are already gotten sunburned, and I'm like, oh my gosh. On average, a person's risk of melanoma, one of the most dangerous forms of skin cancer, doubles if he or she has had more than 5 sunburns. And yes, I panic over that kind of stuff. I do, and I'm like, oh no, because I do have friends that have to have the stuff taken constantly from. Photosensitivity, medication you take, and I know this from personal experience. Photosensitivity is an abnormally increased skin sensitivity to UV radiation from the sun or tanning beds. I went through this. Didn't know what it was at the time, but I did find out that, yeah, this was an issue. It's brought on by certain medications, chemicals, plants, autoimmune disease, and metabolic diseases. Mine was medication. Common photosensitive agents, antibiotics, specifically I have to read this so I don't. Tetracyclines and ciprofloxacin, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories like aspirin and ibuprofen, of all things, diuretics, some oral contraceptives, some birth control pills do make you photosensitive. Retinoids, vitamin A derivatives, those are some of them. Photosensitivity, what it looks like. It's a phototoxic, which literally is light poisoning reaction. Typically looks like an exaggerated sunburn or eczema, usually occurring within 24 hours of sun exposure. The rash is usually limited to skin that has been exposed to the sun. Photoallergic reactions are rarer. They aren't as common, but they do occur. And these reactions can develop 1 to 3 days after exposure to the sun. And the photosensitizing substance, it occurs when the body's immune system recognizes changes caused by sun exposure as a foreign threat. This body produces antibodies and attacks, causing a reaction. Usually if you have a photoallergenic reaction, it can leave you with rash, blisters, red bumps, or, heaven forbid, oozing lesions. I have not seen that happen. I hope never to see that happen. It sounds horrible. Photosensitive, what to do about it? Talk to your doctor and pharmacist about any medications you've been prescribed or OTC products. If you have an over-the-counter product that you're taking, like retinol, which us women, we love retinol. The older ones, we like retinol. That may cause photosensitivity. You're gonna have to avoid direct sunlight. Seek out the shade. Find a tree. Anyway. Water resistant broad spectrum sunscreen, SPF 30 or higher, I would recommend. Zinc oxide is less likely to cause skin reaction, and that's what I use for people with photosensitivity. Cover up with sun protective clothing, wide brimmed hats, UV blocking sunglasses. Like we said before, it's basically the same stuff over and over, but you do need to do it. There's so much. One not fun fact. It's a horrible fact, but it's a fact. Melanoma is the deadliest form of skin cancer. It kills one person every hour, and this is from the Suncare Foundation. That is, they've proven it. They've tracked it. This is true. I'm gone blank. You get sun damage just driving the car. That's why when I said I put lotion on my hands and my face, because I drive my hands and steering wheel, the windshield, it comes directly down on my hands, and I used to see, and I would get, if you want to call them age spots, freckles on my arms and stuff. So now I keep sunscreen on it, so I don't get. I used to get like 3 to 4 new freckles, age spots every year, and it's from driving. Literally, it was from driving. When you use sunscreen, places people forget to put it. And you may think this is funny, but it has happened to me, so I know it's true. Sunscreen, you should use like basically like a shot glass worth of sunscreen should cover your body. 1 teaspoon for your face, head, and neck. The front and back torso takes about 2 teaspoons. 1 teaspoon for like this arm and stuff. 1 teaspoon for this arm. Same for the legs. Do not forget to cover the tops of your feet. People forget about that. Anything what they burn the tops of their feet because you're wearing sandals. They're all cute, and so you didn't put sunscreen down on your feet. Full covered, wearing shirt, jeans, and then you have flip-flops or sandals on, and you burn the tops of your feet because you didn't put sunscreen there. You put sunscreen here, you put sunscreen here, and burnt feet, I hate it. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. I did that once when I was in New Orleans, and it was on a cruise, and of all places to be burnt, and I was miserable, was there. The other places right in here too. But that's what you should look at. 5 minutes a day out exposed to the sun adds up. I mean, if it's like, oh, I'm just running out to the car, I'm running over to the store, I'm out for 5-10 minutes. There are so many different terminologies and stuff like that for it. I don't even know how do you protect yourselves? And then, like I said, cover up, walk in the shade, don't be out in the sun between 10 and 4. And I know some of this is starting to sound redundant. I do mineral sunscreens or physical sunscreens reflect and scatter UV rays. It acts as a physical, don't say sunblock, but it's the mineral one, which is funny. Then the chemical, it requires 15 to 30 minutes for the ingredients to be effective. So when you're looking at stuff like that, traditional sunscreen lets it kind of get in your skin and affects your skin a little bit differently. I guess that's why I'm a little more paranoid about it. Mineral physical sunscreens has almost no risk of irritating the skin. It's likely to leave a white cast because of the zinc oxide, especially on darker skin. If you have sensitive skin, it is preferred because the ingredients aren't being absorbed into the skin. It's on your surface. Traditional ones they don't turn milky looking when you sweat or get wet. They may affect you if you're super sensitive though. I always tell like my grandson laughs because I have to make sure it gets in his armpits and everything else when we do it because you just never know. The neck, armpits, we always like certain things, shoulders and that, but I make sure like he's every underwear, underarm, foot, apply it. I mean, and don't forget your ears. Do not forget. This is the one place I always see so many people burn. They burn their ears. Don't forget to put lotion up here. And I have a lot of friends that are out in the sun doing that. Common myths. Tanning bed gives me a safe tan. The truth. Tanning beds emit 12 times the amount of UVA rays that come from the sun. Tanning bed is worse than the sun. I tan easily, never burn, so I don't need SPF. Melanin production from a tan is a sign of skin damage. So if you're turning brown or tan, that's your skin becoming damaged. Yes, we like healthy tans. I'm never outside, so I don't need sun protection. UVA rays penetrate through windows, exposing you to sun damage risk. If you're sitting by your window or enjoying the sunlight and stuff like that, you are exposing yourself to UVA. My skin tone is very deep. I don't worry about sun damage. Sun damage occurs from both UVA and UVB rays, and the most dangerous effects are those that can't be seen until years later. I use a waterproof sunscreen so I don't have to reapply. First, waterproof. Legally, no SPF is allowed to claim waterproof. All sunscreens are water resistant and will degrade in moisture. So if it says waterproof, they're lying. A little bit of a tan looks good on me and it's healthy. According to the Skin Cancer Foundation, there is no such thing as a healthy tan. A little color to your cheeks, stuff like that. Yes, I understand that. It's one of those, wearing sunscreen can cause vitamin D deficiency. Okay, this is a myth. Because we need sunshine, we need that vitamin D. I understand that. I have serious vitamin D deficiency, so I understand this. Few dermatologists believe this, and no studies have shown that sunscreen causes vitamin D deficiency. So just because it's protecting you from that, it's not a fun fact. It's just a fact. Over the past 3 decades, more people have had skin cancer than all other cancers combined. This is a serious concern. I have something about reefs. I need to find that. That's what we need to talk about. Hold on, let me find my... Reef safe guardrails. FDA hasn't quite set standards on this, but some places like Hawaii, Key West, or Key Largo. So Key West or Key Largo? Key West. And some other places, they have banned certain sunscreens with certain ingredients. So why chemical sunscreens are banned? Bans are spreading. Now this is the traditional sunscreens. These are not the new mineral physical sunscreens. So traditional sunscreen that has basic oxybenzone or octinoxate. I always use oxybenzone. They're showing that it harms the corals by causing bleaching and death, even at very low concentrations. This could have a far-reaching impact on marine life, international food systems, and as well as economies for reef tourism destinations, all that rely on healthy reefs. So, for this reason, Hawaii has banned the sale of sunscreen containing these chemicals, followed by Key West, Florida, Bonaire, in the Republic of Palau. I don't know much about what they've done with it, but I do know Key West and Hawaii is big about this. The trend only seems to be picking up speed. A ban has already been proposed at state level in Florida, and California seems likely to be next, which makes sense. What does reef safe actually mean? And on some of the bottles, it will say that they're reef safe, which I do like that. Research on chemicals harmful to coral reefs is growing, but more needs to be done. Understand the issue's full scope. And this is what I'm reading as a statement. Considering other synthetic sunscreen agents like octocrylene that haven't been targeted by a recent legislator but might also be harmful to marine life. Because of this, reef safe isn't currently a strictly regulated term and doesn't require testing to prove a product isn't harmful. So the mineral coverage, it says, since it comes from the earth, they can be returned there safely without putting undue stress on the environment. So the zinc oxide and the titanium oxide dioxide, that is a mineral sunscreen. It is considered a natural, more natural. Anyway, it's safer for the environment, and that's something you need to look for. Um, a lot of things, what Suncare trends. Suncare is changing. Suncare is becoming more self-conscious, more aware. They are looking interested in being biodegradable, cruelty-free, plant extracts, non-nano mineral actives. So that means don't harm the reefs. Biodegradable. Um, they're basically demanding that everything is broad spectrum for UVA and UVB. Oxybenzone is getting moved out of a lot of sunscreens because of the ban in Hawaii and Key West. Um, there's more introductions and more. They're looking at more naturals, clean, cruelty-free, vegan. So that's stuff that the sunscreen companies are looking at. And if you've seen, there's more natural or more botanical sunscreens coming out there. The FDA is reviewing new sunscreen guidelines. They haven't quite got it all yet, but they're looking at what the European market does, and they're trying to match up. The U.S. FDA is looking at matching up what the European market's expectations are and how they're safe and effective. Now, this probably will not come into effect till 2020 or 2021. So, people want the innovation of the maximum label SPF, SPF variability, the broad spectrum requirements, which, like I said, most countries already have this. The U.S. is still working on that. So this is kind of the facts about sunscreen. I'm not telling you what sunscreen to buy or what to. There's different types for different people. I mean, we love the sun. It makes us happy. Winter can kind of get sad and depressing, if you want to call it that. I've had a long winter. I had snow last week. So I can understand that being an issue. We enjoy the sunshine. We enjoy the sun coming out and saying hello and having our gardens and having our, working in our yards and all that. But we just need to remember to protect ourselves with sunscreen, be it mineral or be it chemical, whichever ones you like. Just make sure it's the right one. Like I said, at least, I know they say SPF 15. Here's my personal opinions, SPF 30 or higher. And most of them, like I said, they work great under makeup. They work great during the day, and they can be reapplied really nicely. There are unscented ones. A lot of them like that cocoa smell, that tropical smell or whatever. That kind of drives me a little nutty. I'm more of a fragrance-free one, but there are a lot of fragrance-free ones out there. So I do like that. So sorry for this being a little long, but I felt like the information needed to go out there and needed to be said. I work with clients all the time that are dealing with skin cancer or sun issues and stuff. And this is something that I've worked with some of them because of my job. So I just wanted to put it out there that kind of what to look for if you're looking for physical, or if you're looking for the mineral, not mineral and physical the same, or you're looking for the chemical one. There's nothing wrong with it, but just, stay safe, stay responsible. And I hope you like this video, and I hope to hear from you all soon. Bye.